Brought to you by Penguin.
The OMG Effect by Rev Chris Lee, read by Rev Chris Lee. To my extraordinary wife Jenny, my life and silly dance partner. A note on the 60-second sermons. A couple of years ago, I began recording a series of short videos, 60 seconds or so long, and posted them to Instagram. I wanted to offer people a meaningful message of love and hope, and try to encourage anyone watching that they are of great value, and they're loved, and that there is always hope for them. I was overwhelmed by the positive responses I received as people from all walks of life and religious beliefs found moments of connection and hope in these small sermons. I realized that I had this amazing opportunity. I was able to reach out and speak to thousands of people who wouldn't dream of setting foot inside a church building. I could speak life and light into the world through social media, which is often seen as its own superficial bubble. My 60-second sermons, as they became known, are often inspired by quotes, stories, and lessons from Christianity and the Bible, and through them I share my thoughts and try to uplift others in their day-to-day lives. 60-second sermons are not big, in-depth theological discussions, and I think that is part of their appeal. In them, I aim to talk about faith and God in an approachable, accessible, and hopefully inspiring way. I want to tell people that they are loved, and to spread a message of positivity online that helps people to lead fuller lives offline too. Each chapter in this book begins with a 60-second sermon. It sets the tone for the chapter that follows and is a digestible thought to take with you and think on as you read. This book is also made up of stories from my life and my thoughts on the lessons in faith that can be learned from moments of hardship, sadness, and joy. I am by no means perfect. I still get things wrong sometimes, and I make mistakes. I sin, I stumble, I fall. But I hope that, just like with my 60-second sermons on Instagram, you can take a message of light, love, forgiveness, and hope from these pages, and lead a fuller life filled with kindness and hope. Bless you. You're loved. A note on the God Pod. I believe that God is everywhere, at all times, in and throughout his creation, which is to say that he is able to speak to us through all things. All God requires is for us to listen out for him. I often connect with God and my faith through art, whether that be a painting, music, or a film. It doesn't have to be particularly religious. Often it can help if it isn't, as my personal interpretation and response to it makes the sense of connection all the more special. Often a song comes on the radio which affects me in a deeper way than others before or after it. It's as if God has dipped the music or lyrics in his spirit and sent them flying into my soul. In just a few seconds it can shake me awake and give me a profound sense of being heard and also spoken to. Sometimes I listen to music with a God filter, meaning I listen out for moments when God speaks to me through the words of the song. So I thought it would be fun to give every chapter a kind of theme tune, and let you in on some of the songs that particularly resonated with me as I wrote this book and thought on what it means to live a full life. I've chosen songs that I've personally felt the presence of God through, and each one is in some way related to their respective chapter. In what is probably an act of nostalgia for my old and now sadly defunct iPod, I call it my God Pod playlist. Interpret the songs on this spiritual soundtrack however you wish. A sense of something bigger than you, of being connected to the universe, or however you prefer to think about it. But for me, these songs feel like they create moments when God puts an arm around us, or reminds us he's here with us, or gives us a sort of spiritual high five to uplift and re-energize us. I hope you enjoy the music and the chapters that follow. Introduction. While I was training to become a priest, I lived in Africa for a time. The continent forms the bedrock of my faith, as so many memorable things happened there. In Zanzibar, where I spent my first ever Christmas away from my family, I stayed at a Rastafarian-run guest house that consisted of a few huts on stilts on the beach. Aside from me, the guests included a Buddhist and a Muslim. Together with the Rastafarian, we sat by a fire on the beach under the Milky Way and discussed the divine. It was a magical evening, and one where I learned a great deal, as we respectfully listened.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?